Welcome back to Faith, Family, and Politics. I'm your guest host, Alan McFarland. What do you think about this show, Louis?
We're going to have a really big show today.
That's definitely, sir, awesome. And of course, that's Louis. We're going to get back to him in just a second. Actually, I'm going to go ahead and start introducing people. To my right, I'm starting with you. You know him. Of course, you love him. Josh?
Yeah.
James? Question mark? He'll be bringing the message today.
Yeah, I'm going to give it a shot.
Excellent. I think he can do it. I'm fairly confident. I've seen him do it a few times. To my left here, not to my right.
Ryan.
I was going to introduce you, but that's okay.
That's okay. That's on me.
He was making sure you remember his name. He's so new.
He's like, it's Ryan. It's Ryan. It's Ryan. It's Ryan.
He has the soft spot on the back of his head, so he's just really new. Yeah.
Welcome to the show, Ryan.
Thank you.
And of course, the voice of this show, Louis Rodriguez. All right. Now that you know the cast today, I just want you to know that we actually have 5 shows right here with Revolver Broadcasting. If you could please follow us on Facebook, True Social. Where else are you?
We're everywhere, man.
We're everywhere.
Yeah, we're pretty much on every social network there is. Facebook, YouTube, Rumble, anywhere you download your audio podcasts.
Just don't try to find us on MySpace. Don't ask Jeeves.
Right, or Dogpile, yeah.
But yeah, like you said, definitely YouTube, Rumble. You're going to find us there. We'd like to push Rumble, though.
Yeah, we definitely, because they'll pay us faster. So everybody just go over to Rumble.
And behind our booth here, you can't see him, unfortunately, but we have Austin. He's going to be running everything back there and making us sound good, because without him, you don't want to hear us.
Yeah, we were lucky to be blessed by these 2 young gentlemen, Ryan, who's joining us this week, and then Austin back over there, because these guys, they're sitting in some hot seats. They're taking on some responsibilities here, and Austin, he's taking over for some titans in this room, so he's doing it to it, man. I'm proud of him, checking it all out.
Definitely,
yeah. It's nice to have some interns around here.
So, Josh, you want to lead us in with a little prayer, and then maybe we can talk about the topic at hand?
Let me give you the title real quick.
Okay.
Because I think you're going to like this title, Alan.
Okay.
Worriers to Warriors.
I like it.
Worriers to Warriors. Okay. We'll go into prayer.
Let's do it.
Father God, we want to thank you for this time of fellowship, and we'll hope a little bit of fun. We want to make sure that we glorify you, and at least in this first half hour, if we can. Hopefully throughout the rest of us, because of this show, because without you, we don't have anything, and we want all the values that you've taught us in the 66 books of truth to bleed in every aspect of our lives. In your Son, Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. I noticed he didn't put much faith in the last 60 minutes when he's not talking. He's like, first 30 minutes, I got you, God. I got you. After that, it might go off the rails.
He can carry his own torch just fine. He doesn't need me.
Well,
but he likes that we try, right?
That's fair.
The reason I went with Worriers to Warriors, I actually heard it was a guy named Charlie. He's a speaker that my good friend Joe and I like to listen to. You can catch him on Rumble too. But he was making this speech to a rather large crowd, and he said, we got to stop being worriers. We got to stop being worriers. We got to start getting closer to the Creator, and we got to start being warriors. And I was like, huh. And he goes, to put that shortly, worriers, we got to become warriors. And I went, whoa. It just made my head explode. I don't know why, but I felt that throughout my body. I was like, man, I gotta use that. So we have scripture that tells us not to worry, but this is for the warrior. We have Philippians chapter 4, verse 6. It says, do not be anxious about anything, but in everything by prayer and supplication with thanksgiving, let your requests be made known to God. So that's praying fervently to God. And you're like, hey, if these things are on your mind, we want to start handing those over. Let's not be worrying about all those things that's going to weigh us down, right, Louis? Because that's not for us to carry. That's not our burden.
Sure.
Because God, and we'll get to it, he talks about how he takes that weight off of us. So do not be anxious. Philippians 4:7, that's the following verse. It says, "And the peace of God, which surpasses all understanding, will guard your hearts and your minds in Christ Jesus." So, now that we're praying, we're handing it all over to him because we have Christ in our hearts. We're now, not only are we going to find the peace of God by handing those things over, but we're going to actually have understanding of it. And even if we don't, God's going to guard our heart because we have Jesus Christ there to guard it for us.
I was afraid when you said peace of God, you were talking about the cracker at Mass. My fault.
What?
Well,
No.
yeah. Sometimes, right?
Yeah.
We need that's called communion for those who've never been to church before. And if you've never done communion, one of these times I think we'll have to do that on the show and see if we can get everybody to engage with us.
Break out the box of Jesus.
That's right. And
Don't forget the wine.
grape juice, Welch's grape juice around here, Lou.
Oh, no, that doesn't go. God don't like that.
They had drinking wine. They had the drinking wine because the water was not exactly,
Hey, we gotta follow the tradition. Wine.
Just don't drink it till you get hoppy.
Okay, about 10 sips.
So we go over to Matthew chapter 6, verse 25, and it says, "Therefore I tell you, do not be anxious about your life." So again, he's telling us not to be anxious. Do not be anxious about your life, about what you will eat or what you will drink, nor about your body or what you will put on it. Wow. But I haven't gotten to the end of that verse, but wow. It said, "Is life not more than food, and the body, and the clothing?" Whoa, right?
Yeah, I made a mistake by putting a tattoo.
But yeah, I mean, everybody's temple, right? But but we don't have to. I think what it's talking about here is doing this for other people, right? Like you're putting on the nicest shoes, you're putting on the nicest whatever threads, or the kids are calling it drip now for some reason. That's the TikTok generation. I heard it the other day, and I tried to use it, and it didn't go over well.
Well, it's because their clothes are made of plastic. It gets hot enough outside.
Yeah,
It will actually drip.
they don't say flame retardant like ours did growing up. Huh?
They had to be when we were kids.
Well, it's all changed a lot, but yeah.
Yeah. We were playing outside, right?
Yeah, we had Wranglers and Lees.
But yeah, so the clothing you wear shouldn't matter to you. And you shouldn't have to have the finest of foods. Just make sure it's healthy enough, and there's ways to do that, obviously. And you shouldn't have to worry about drinking particular drinks. Like if you got Voss water or whatever, it doesn't matter to God. He just wants you to know that your needs are going to be met. So don't be anxious in those things. Don't be anxious in trying to just accomplish for everyone else. And I'm sure that there's other meanings to that, but that's what I got out of it this time around. I'm sure I'll probably bring a message pretty close to this sometime, a few years from now, and I'll have a whole other meaning to that. But that's where I'm going with it right now, because I feel like that's exactly what God's telling me through it. And then 2 verses later, in Matthew 6:27, this is Jesus talking. He said, "And which of you, by being anxious, can add a single hour to his span of life?"
That's the truth.
Right?
There's so much of that. There's so much truth there. I mean, how much of our life do we kind of cast out there with anxiety and just worrying about things, right? I mean, it leads to so many health problems and so many mental problems.
Yeah, it makes your heart race usually. Makes people have other health conditions that they wouldn't normally. I know that for me, and I know for a lot of people that they have anxiety in particular, it does show up very physically. I had instances where I had pain in my legs for a long time. I had an eye twitch thing going on.
I hate that.
I was like, what is this? And, and then you read Matthew 6:27, you're like, oh, I'm stupid. I should have just read the Bible and I would have found out the answer that I shouldn't be running around with an eye twitch, because I'm not going to add anything to my life. I'm not going to have a longer life if I worry about things. Right, Louis?
I mean, and that really goes along with people saying it's in God's hands now, right? Like, you can put it on your shoulders and you can stress about it, but most of the things you stress about, you can't actually do anything about. And so you hear a lot of people say, hey, it's in God's hands now, because literally you can sit here and stress about it and shorten your life, or you can realize you absolutely have no control. There's someone who has control, and it's not you.
Yeah, no, it's the big man upstairs.
That's right.
And Jesus continues later on in Matthew chapter 6 in verse 33. He said, but seek first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things will be added to you. So all the things that you were worried about, all the things that you knew you needed, God knows you need.
Like your drip.
Yeah. So he'll get you. You may not be the prettiest clothes, and yes, I said prettiest. It may not be the fanciest, but it'll keep you covered. It'll keep you covered, and you may not have the greatest of foods, and you're not eating on caviar and having those champagne wishes or caviar dreams. What is that they used to say on Rich and Famous?
I think that's it. Yeah.
Yeah.
You caviar-aren't. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. You don't need that stuff.
I haven't watched it, but yeah.
Well, you're a little too young there, Ryan. That's before your time.
Yeah,
Back
sure.
in my day. But you can get on that Gordon's fisherman fish diet, can't you? It's affordable.
No, it's not.
Maybe a few pieces of chicken from the Walmart. Yeah.
My kid put me on ramen this week, so
Yeah.
she made sure to spend enough that I had to eat ramen this week.
Hey, you gotta do what you gotta do, man. But those needs were met. You got something in your belly, yeah. Even if it has to be just a little by little. I found myself often enough just eating peanut butter crackers for lunch. I may not look it, but yeah, that's a pretty good lunch for me sometimes because I'm like watching my pennies, and not because I'm worried about it, because I know that that's all I need. Because God wouldn't have just provided it for me if I needed more. He would have let me know. So in the following verse, Matthew chapter 6, verse 34, Jesus is still talking. He says, therefore, do not be anxious about tomorrow, for tomorrow will be anxious for itself. Sufficient for the day is its own trouble. So all of those things that you're going to worry about, it's no need, obviously. We've covered that, but it's going to take care of itself. It's going to worry about itself all on its own. You don't have to think about it. I know I'm looking at you a lot, Ryan, but I feel like it's touch and base for you right now. Am I right about that? Okay.
I like to think tomorrow is anticipating me showing up. It's like he's going to be here again tomorrow.
I was waiting for.
I'm trying to get Louis going here.
Yeah,
I'm trying.
He was a rascal before you got here, but pre-recording, and we were all just kind of sitting around chatting. He was a real rascal, but he's keeping quiet now. He's watching his P's and Q's, I guess.
I'll get him to come out.
Just don't let me talk.
Iron fist. No,
Wow.
no.
Deep control.
Is that why you have to sit next to him?
They can pull out the switch.
Now, don't bring whips into it. We're already crackers over here. We don't need to add.
Well,
it goes with the family.
I don't like to use the word cracker. I think whipping cream is okay.
I mean,
Anyway,
I consider myself a corn chip, but
that's fair. That's fair.
yeah, it's because all the dad jokes are very corny.
Corn chips.
Yeah,
We are in Indianapolis.
yeah. Everybody likes corn chips, right?
Corn steak.
Ryan, you look like you don't know what you got yourself into. It's like, oh, this.
There was like laughter, and then there wasn't, and then there was, and then I don't know what happened there.
That's how I feel every time I talk. Usually I get laughter, and then it stops, and I get more laughter. It's just all like anxious laughter. That's what it is. And they don't put it off till tomorrow.
We're making Austin anxious.
People, we're going to laugh on time.
There we go. All right. I got a full laugh. Take that, Alan.
That's fair. I'll get my remixed laugh. It's okay.
It's bad hiring a crew.
Listen to this over there, Austin. See, in Proverbs, or no, actually, let me go back one. In 1 Peter chapter 5, verse 7, casting all your anxieties on him because he cares for you. Yeah? So make sure that you're casting all your anxieties on him. So everything that's making you anxious right now, even me, cast those cares on Jesus, because he's going to take care of them for you because he cares for you, right? And then Proverbs chapter 12, verse 25. I believe this is Jesus again here talking. Anxiety in a man's heart weighs him down, but a good word makes him glad. Now that's a long way of saying, give an attaboy and you'll brighten somebody's day. Give them somebody a smile, right?
We'll take subscribers.
Right?
Tell your friends.
A lot of comments.
I was going to give a bunch of hopeless plugs. Just never mind. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, you're good, man. Yeah, but I want to read that one again real quick, because anxiety in a man's heart weighs him down. How do you feel about that, Ryan? Does anxiety in your heart, does that weigh you down?
Sometimes.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
Financially, mainly, but yeah.
Yeah, I think that goes for everybody here tonight. I think that goes for everybody here tonight.
But there's nothing like looking at somebody and saying, man, you're killing it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You're doing a great job. You're killing it. And that just, man, at the right time. I mean, anytime it's great, but at the right time, there's always that moment where that just all it takes is that little bit.
Yeah.
It can change everything for you.
And then you can almost see it usually instantaneously, right? Like if you say, good job, you're doing great. That good word makes that man glad, or that woman. So then we move on to we're
we just want to make sure it was man and woman. That's there's no others. We're good.
A man and a woman, right? That's what they said in Congress. Anyway, I'm getting off topic there. So we're casting our cares on him, and this is what he told us in Matthew chapter 11, verse 30. He said, and this is one of my favorite verses of all time, because if we're casting our cares on him, he says, "For my yoke is easy and my burden is light." For my yoke is easy and my burden is light.
Interesting.
And so when he says yoke, he's talking. You know the yoke that they put on the oxen's shoulders.
Oh, I thought it was a yoke, like have
Like
babies.
egg yolk.
Know?
So it's not YOLK but YOKE, and it's talking about like when they're pulling the carts and stuff, the old, and they have the yokes over their shoulders to carry.
Doesn't have a lot to pull.
Or even people would have like buckets of water on either side of a yoke.
I didn't know that was called like that.
Yeah.
Huh.
So for God, I mean, you could pretty much, he doesn't have to worry about physics, right? Like we do, because we have to worry about gravity and all this other stuff. He doesn't have to worry about that because he's God. So his yoke is easy. And guess what? He doesn't have a care because he's God. So he can take care of all those things that we're like, oh man, this is really getting to my core. This has really got me anxious. This has really got me worried. And should I be doing this? And should I be doing that?
He might be worrying. He probably be looking at me and say, "Oh no, Louis gonna do something wrong." I know it.
Well, that's why he gave us grace, right? That's why he gave us grace. So yeah, he knew we were going to do wrong, especially his own, right? That's why when I hear somebody say, "Well, you Christians ain't nothing but hypocrites," I go, "Uh-huh."
And that's okay.
like when we go to church, we're going there to hear about God and hear about Christ. You don't go to the gym to sit around and look at everybody else. You're going there to get fit, right? It's the same thing with your spirit. You're going to church, or you're coming to an episode of FFP, whether digitally or here physically, and you're pumping up your spiritual muscles, right? And we need that. So yes, we're hypocrites. We're gonna do wrong tomorrow. I guarantee it.
I will 4 times in the next 15 minutes.
Likely.
I will look at the woman in front of me that's lifting weights.
And again, God give you the grace though, even though, and so, yeah, we just try not to. That's our goal. But so he says, my yoke is easy, my burden is light. And then he says, going back into the Old Testament. So this is big words here. So
OG Testament.
That's right. Psalm chapter 46, verse 10. He said, "Be still and know that I am God. I will be exalted among the nations. I will be exalted in all the earth." Whoa. So no matter how many anxieties we got, no matter how many mounting pressures we've got, no matter how many things are really just weighing us down, we got to remember to just be still. Find that solitude, start praying, and we'll know that He is God. And that no matter what we've got going on, He's still going to be exalted among all the nations. He's still going to be exalted in all the earth. So He's got control of all that. If He can control all that, certainly He can handle little old me and you. Right? Now for the warriors, right? Now for the warriors. This is also in Psalm chapter 55, verse 22. Cast your burden on the Lord, and He will sustain you. He will never permit the righteous to be moved. He'll never permit the righteous to be moved. So if you've got God on your side,
they can't evict you. Wait. I'll let Josh finish. Sorry, guys.
Yeah, I don't think that there's what do they call that when they say that it's God's will to take over not eminent domain. There's I can't remember. There's a word for it where someone says, okay, well this is what manifest destiny.
Yes, there you go. Destiny. There you go. Yeah.
That's the words I was looking for. Manifest destiny. No, there's nothing. It's not like that. But let's say you found yourself worrying, and then you handed your worries over to God, and then people come to you and start trying to put additional anxieties on you, or put those same anxieties that you had back on you. Well, now you got God in your corner, and because you've chosen the righteous path, you can't be moved now. You're like a mountain, right?
Yeah.
And that's why in Luke chapter 12, verse 31, we want to instead seek His kingdom, and these things will be added to you. Again, He's adding to you. He's sustaining you. He will never permit the righteous to be moved, right? He's making you more of a mountain, more of a warrior. Now, we talked back on with my dad, the warrior that I am, when he did that. Talked about the full armor of God, talked about the sword, talked about the shield of God, those things being your faith, your Bible, right, and your salvation. So now we're gonna put that whole armor on. So in Ephesians chapter 6, verse 11, put on the whole armor of God, that you may be able to stand against the schemes of the devil. For we do not wrestle against flesh and blood, but against the rulers, against the authorities, against the cosmic powers over the present darkness, against the spiritual forces of evil in the heavenly places. We're talking about the greater battle, not just the day-to-day, oh, I hate what they said at work. Oh, I don't like what they did on the television program that I was watching. Sure, we're going to talk about some of that stuff tonight, and those are the smaller things, but if we've got on the full armor of God, all those things that we're fighting for, no weapon formed against you shall prosper. That's also, I don't have that scripture with me tonight, but that's also in there. And so we're mountains. Now we have armor. What do you think, Ryan? What do you think can stop a mountain with full armor on?
I don't know.
Not
Honestly,
much, right?
No, not much.
So we got to make sure that we're praying fervently, right? We're reading our Bible.
Yes.
And we've got we've got Christ in our heart.
Yes.
Most importantly, yes.
Yes.
So then we got the full armor of God. We're a mountain. God's on our side. So now, what are we going to do with those anxieties?
At that point, I don't know.
You got to put them on God.
Got to put them on God. That very first step, right? Praying fervently to Him.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
And then when we open up our Bible, He's gonna give us the right words to read, generally speaking, or He'll give us someone to give I feel like this is reaching you. That's why I keep So
All the pressure's on you.
No, I don't think it's pressure, but
no. Right now he's fervently in prayer in his mind. I guarantee it. He's like, God, take this off me.
Take it off me. Take it off me now.
And he's becoming a mountain. He's becoming a warrior. So we have this bigger battle, the spiritual battle between us and the devil, or devils, as it were, because that word doesn't mean Lucifer or Satan. It's just literally meaning evil ones, I think, is the actual translation. So they actually, when they're referencing the big evil guy, they usually say Lucifer, But here we're talking about devils. We're talking about leading into temptations of some kind, leading into anxieties of some kind, things that'll worry us and break us down. But we're warriors. We're mountains now. We've got armor on. And I want to close with this one because this verse, because this includes the little ones. It's 1 John chapter 4, verse 4. Little children, you are from God and have overcome them, for he who is in you is greater than he who is in the world. Now he's referring to all of us as little children, not just the little children. So that's all of us here. That's all of you at home. I hope you got the little ones watching too, because this is a family-friendly show. So gather around the couch, Exactly.
I'm always worried they're going to tune in and see me sitting in front of this mic, and they're like, "Oh no, we can't watch this one with the kids."
No, so we do crack the whip on Alan. That we do that.
You thought Daryl Brooks had a shock bracelet on, shock anklet on.
Yeah, he just gets 30 lashings after every episode, even for no reason.
I was going to say, even if I don't need it, I need it regardless.
Just a reminder. But I think that's very powerful. When he speaks to us that way, when God speaks to us that way, he says, "Little children, you are from God." So we're from the Creator, yes, and have overcome them, overcome all your problems, all your anxieties, all these things. For he who is in you is greater than he who is in the world. So Christ being in our hearts and God being on our side, they are greater than any of your anxieties. They are greater than any of your worries. They are greater than anything that comes your way. Okay?
okay.
What was that second one again? I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding, buddy.
Anxieties, worries.
I'm just messing with you. Go ahead.
I can go back over points. I've got it all mentally captured right
I know
here.
you're there.
Yeah.
It's like a mountain with armor on it.
That's right.
That's right.
Armor on. So we got to remember, let's stop being warriors and start being warriors. Right, Louis?
That's right. You want a story?
Yeah.
Oh,
If you got a story for us?
Yeah, I was going to say, obviously you can lead if you want, but I was just going to say, a moment where you've basically said, you know what, I got to take it off me and give it to God and just let him run with it. That's what I was going to go with the story. I mean, it'd be really cool though, Josh.
What's that?
I don't know if you want to tell these guys about the email and how they can get a hold of us. Maybe tell us their stories.
Yeah, I'll do that while you plug this iPad up over there
I'm
on your
on
side. So yeah, if you want to reach us in a secure manner, you don't want Mark Zuckerberg looking at your messages because you're trying to hit us up through Facebook Messenger. You don't want to have Susan Wojcicki looking at your stuff when you're trying to comment on YouTube. Certainly still comment on YouTube, but make sure you keep it light so that they don't try to cancel us for anything you've said. You'll want to go onto your email, and you're going to type in info@revolverbroadcasting.com. info@revolverbroadcasting.com. And send us your messages. Let us know how we're doing. Things that you like, things you'd like to see for this show, things you'd like to, hear us talk about. Sometimes we can change it up, We have a lot of big things in the future, so make sure you hit us up that way because it is the most secure way to let Revolver Broadcasting know how we're doing and what you'd like to see from us.
I got one complaint. We don't have enough donuts, snacks, or coffee.
Well, send it to info@revolverbroadcasting.com, Louis.
All right.
And I think it would be kind of cool to hear some of their stories occasionally.
Yeah.
That'd be great to hear how you guys have overcome things or put things to God. That'd be fantastic.
Yeah, they can send us if you like. You can send us your video clips, and maybe we'll try to work out some kind of like a montage or something.
That would be really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't want to sit at home like a zombie and just go, and not say nothing, you know? Say something. What about the show? What you like? And give us some comments.
Yeah.
So you want to tell us about that story, Louis? You want to tell us some more about the story?
On which one?
You had a story for us.
Oh, no, about me being in Calam. Never mind.
Tell me all about it.
This-
We're just clearing this up real quick.
I changed my mind.
You changed your mind.
You're just asking questions. We can hear you. Yeah. So
I was just going to talk about when I was reincarnated.
so you got this here, and then you scroll down there.
I just want this clear. I want to get to that line that's right there. But
Oh, okay.
you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry about that. A little
Are we
technical difficulty.
ordering lamps?
Might need to reload the page.
I will. I'll do that.
That little circle there.
Anyway, so yeah, let's go ahead and keep rolling. Yeah, a time where you where it was on your shoulders and you gave it to God and cleared your mind and hit that next day hard. Anybody got a story for that?
Well, life is hard. It ain't easy. And you're going to have all kinds of worries. You know, everything's going to be out there trying to knock you down, from when you buy a house or when you get married or when you have a kid. All that is going to bring you down, but you just got to fight through it. Think about God, and it'll get you through. I used to let things like that get me down when I was younger. I used to worry. I had a lot of kids. Money wasn't there. I used stressed out on that. But I never thought about going to God or reading the Bible. I just held all that weight on me, you know?
Right.
And finally, when I started seeing God, and really when my kids grew up and got away out of the house, things started getting better for me. But it was rough in the beginning, and I'm glad that I made it through. I survived. My kids survived, and so far most of them are doing well. But don't let that stress get you down, because it's hard. And it's like Josh said, it will bring you down real hard.
Would you say you've learned to let that go? You've learned to just say, hey, it's out of my hands. I can't micromanage everything in life. I've got to, I don't necessarily have to give up, but I definitely have to understand that this is my threshold and this is what I can control and this is what I can't.
Right.
Definitely, that's where you're at now.
You can't control life. You can't control. You could control it to the point that you do the right thing, but don't let it get you down. You just got to keep going. Just keep going with the punches and roll, and you'll be there. Sooner or later, you'll be there.
You're getting a lot of cheers, Louie. Austin's having fun with that soundboard. So, he says.
I like to tell people, I like to tell my daughter, a lot of times I go, stretch your arms out. Stretch your arms out. Give me your full wingspan. Understand that most things in life that you can control are from your fingertips, at your fingertips in your wingspan. There are certain things you can control outside that, but most of those things you have to just let go because it's outside your span, right? Yeah. And that's just kind of how I've had to live my life. I've learned to stop doing that. I used to carry so much on my shoulders, everyone else's burdens, I'd pile them up and put them on my shoulders because I didn't want to see other people in pain. I didn't want to see other people hurting, so if I could help, I would help. If I was there for just as an ear, that's okay. But I got loaded down myself, worrying about everybody else, and so you have to accept that.
It's the telltale sign of an extrovert, as someone, especially if they're an empathic person or empathetic person, because you're wanting to. Most extroverts are people pleasers. Would you say that's correct for you too, Alan? Kind of a people pleaser.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Come check out the videos, please. We make them for you.
We're here to please you. There's something wrong with this chair. Hang on a second. It's like a trick chair. I think my dad must have messed with it or something. I think he did some kind of special wrenching on this.
Not
chair.
having me on the show this week.
Yeah.
You will slide down slowly.
It's just been steadily. I've just been getting shorter and shorter. I know how it feels to be Norma now, Louis.
It comes with age. Older you get, the smaller you get.
But that is the crux of it, though. Like now you're wanting to be a people pleaser, and then you hear their problems, and then you want to take them on as your own.
Right.
And sometimes you got to understand that their problems are still theirs. Now that doesn't mean you can't, like you said, be a sympathetic ear, but at the end of the day, their problems are their own. And hey, if you can help, certainly you can reach out and help, but don't put so much on yourself. The world's problems are not your problems.
Some problems are harder than others.
Don't let other people sink your raft. I mean,
Yeah.
you know, we all have a raft. Don't let other people sink your raft.
Yeah.
Unless you have space on your door.
Yeah. She had plenty of room on
She
that
had
door.
plenty of room on that door.
We're talking about the Titanic. I've never actually seen the movie, but I've seen that scene, and that door was huge, and she had plenty of room for him. What was his name? Jack?
Yeah, it was
She had
Jack.
plenty of room for Jack to get
Yeah,
on
Rose
that door.
Rose could have done several things to get Jack on that door. She just knew how much more money was maybe waiting for her at home.
Last weekend, my girlfriend's family actually went to the Titanic Museum. Speaking of that, so
That's really cool.
yeah.
So when they went there, did they tell them, hey, there was plenty of room on that door for Jack to get on?
I don't know.
Look at
Didn't
these
get that one.
doors.
It's in Tennessee though, but
Where was it that you went?
I didn't go.
They went.
Yeah, they went. They
Where?
went to the Titanic Museum in Tennessee.
In
Oh,
Tennessee.
Tennessee.
Yeah, I was told it's a good experience, but not the price.
Right. I wonder how many people were actually praying when that went down, when the Titanic. How many people actually handed that over to God? You know.
Well, like they're gonna. I don't know. I wasn't there. I couldn't have taken a tally. I would have been trying to get off the ship. Wow, I didn't think you got me. That you thought I was that old. Do you know Ellen?
Communication
So, Louis,
must have been rough back in those days.
Louis, how was it on the Titanic? Was it?
It was pretty rough, man. I tell you. I thought I'd never survive.
The good thing is you got a few ice cubes for your
I
wine.
was lucky I got swallowed up by a whale and got thrown on the beach after.
Nice. I like it. I like it.
Louis' other name is Jonah.
I couldn't connect with that one.
So that was a Bible joke. There's a man named Jonah in the Bible. He got swallowed up.
Oh,
by a
no, I
fish.
got that, yeah.
Okay, all right.
I just couldn't connect.
All right.
So is there a moment or a story that you may have where you just had to let it off your shoulders and give it to God?
Well, high school, but a lot of it, I was more like a military academy and fire academy when I was in high school. So a lot of wake ups were hard on me at the time, but I had hardly any bills. But
I mean, what'd you do? Like the alarm goes off and you're like, you wake up, you look around, you go, I'm giving this to God and roll back over?
no. Look up.
God's
A lot
got
of
this.
physical training, but no. I would one report to, which is a military academy base. It's JRTC, but I'd go from JRTC to fire base. But we did a lot of physical training. Most of my morning was from 7 to noon physical training and bunker gear and basic gear. But yeah.
Okay.
That was rough. I know that. That kind of training is not that easy.
I still train like that to this day, but yeah, it's not easy.
Well, you'll have to start giving me a call in the mornings because I see my alarm in the morning and I'm like, hey God, I'm gonna take a few more winks here.
I typically wake up at 4 or 5 or try to, but the physical component's not there. That's the only change.
Yeah, I'm usually hitting the mattress about 2 a.m. Like that's when I'm laying down usually. So,
I've woken up at 2 a.m. before too.
so to get up back up at 5, I think it might be a little bit too grueling now that I'm getting closer to my 40s, right on the cusp of it. Actually, Alan knows, he's right behind me.
Don't remind me.
We're just a few months apart. He's got a birthday coming up.
Yeah, I do. I'm trying to forget it.
I'm glad
I'm putting it
in
on
the
God.
summer.
I'm putting it on God, 100%. God, take this 39th way. Just take it for me, man.
Yeah, I think for me, I've had a lot of things that have really weighed me down. We've talked about depression in the past and stuff like that, but things that I worried about in recent times was, and and I shouldn't have had to worry about it because I know she's wonderful. But what my wife thought of me, because as much as I know that she loves me, and I hope that she gets a chance to watch this because she doesn't always watch the episodes because she hears enough of us talking politics all the time around her. She doesn't want to hear all that portion, but there's a lot of times I worry about exactly what she thinks about me and how good I'm doing as a husband. I'm a slow learner when it comes to a lot of this stuff, and Louis can attest. He's given me some wisdom over the years that I've known him, and he's kind of pulled me aside and said, "Hey, that's probably not the right way to approach that with her." And I've learned to be a lot softer with her. We have to do that with our spouses, gentlemen. We have to be softer with them. We have to be willing to listen, because all she's trying to do is be heard. Mm-hmm. And so I worried about that a lot. But then I spent a lot of time in prayer, and I was like, God, I'm worried about what she thinks about me. And I just kept praying. I just kept telling him, I'm worried about what she thinks about me. And when I was putting this message together, I was like, oh, he's telling me he can take this away. He can take this away. And then Laura comes up to me right after I had just gotten done putting some of this stuff together, and she goes, "I love you," and give me a little kiss on the cheek, and it was like.
That was after he blacked out for 10 minutes when she hit him with something. All he remembers is getting the kiss and hearing "I love you." And why does his head hurt so much?
That explains this lump and why the hat has to be on this week. No.
You got to have that, every once in a while. You got to tell each other you love each other,
Mm-hmm.
you appreciate each other, because she could be thinking the same thing you're thinking, She probably saying to herself what he thinks about me,
Yeah.
So once in a while, you got to let them know.
Yeah, and I, if she like I said again, she gets to watch this, and I'll certainly tell her face to face, but she doesn't have to worry about that because she's great. Certainly, we have arguments like any other couple. We have, things that we're not always lined up with, like every other couple.
Yeah, we shoot all these down here in the studio because this is actually where he lives most of the time because he's in trouble. This is his doghouse, so this is how we can visit Josh.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
Yeah, so come hang out with us.
Welcome to my bedroom/kitchen. I'm just kidding. Just kidding, guys. Seriously.
They're installing in the sink next week, but that's kidding again. I couldn't afford a sink. But yeah, I don't think she has to worry about that at all. And I know that I actually believe that she has a stronger walk with God than I do. Because there's been times where we're praying together, and I'm like, man, she's really got this down. She really talks to God a whole lot more than I do. I think a lot of women really have a better relationship with God than men.
Because they have to put up with us.
Yeah,
they're reaching out for the strength, reaching for strength all the time.
Yeah. Well, and I think it's because all too often we close our ears and we want to tell them how we think it's supposed to be, right? Mm-hmm. Am I right, Ryan?
Yeah.
Yeah, we try to tell them, hey, it's supposed to be like this. Because we think in our minds the role of the man is to just tell everybody like it is. That's not the role of the man. The role of the man is to be the head of the household for sure, but the right way. So when someone comes and brings you with, it's almost like managing a business in that way. And I'm not going to say it's exactly like a business. So don't get me wrong there, but it's just a metaphor here. So someone brings you their problems. If you're running a company, and this employee has brought you their problems, what are you going to do with those problems? Are you going to go, you're going to do this right now?
No, I'm going to find an employee that doesn't complain as much.
You might cycle them out. No,
exactly.
But if let's say these are your employees for life, that you have no choice. So now you've got to figure out what their problem is, right? And work it out together.
I'm closing the business.
So yeah, I think we then we can hand all those anxieties, those worries over to God together with you and whoever that may be. For me, it's here at home, it's just Laura and I and our dog Journey. So
You got to remember that your wife is not your servant. She's not there for you to tell what to do. She's part of you, and you're both even when it comes to the household. Some women are more bossy than the men, and some men are bossy than the woman. Yeah. But you got to come to a even relationship and settle your problems and talk them out. Don't come out and say, "Oh no, it's my way." It is not. Doesn't work that way, because women, they'll get tired after a while and seeing that, oh, it's always this way and I can't get nothing in there and say anything about it. They get tired. So
that's when they tell you to get a night job.
I had to learn that the hard way.
What, being told to get a night job?
Well, because I was working a lot of overtime when we were early in our marriage, Laura and I, and she was happy that I was working two jobs during that time. Again, slow learner. So I had a lot of things that I had to straighten up and fly right about back then. So she was rightfully so, because she was still doing. Back then she was just about as good as she is now. Women only get better with age, folks. If they're a good woman, they only get better the more you know them. So
I think we're pulling in a key demographic here that we can't find on the analytics.
No, actually, believe it or not, Alan, via Facebook anyway, 65% of our audience, we want to thank you, ladies. You are 65% of our audience. And and we're going to try to have more women on the show, obviously. If you want that, make sure you're going to info@revolverbroadcasting.com and hitting us up and letting us know that.
And commenting.
Yeah, and commenting, whether you're on YouTube or Rumble. Let us know, because we appreciate you. We appreciate you watching. We appreciate you subscribing, sharing, all that stuff. So thank you.
Yeah, we personally read those comments. We really do, and take them to heart. So whatever comments we can get, any feedback we can get, it only makes the show better, and we like to be able to, cater to our audience. So
and it might make us improve better.
Yeah, we're willing to listen.
Yep.
So as far as me, I mean, that's just kind of, I don't know at what point I had to train myself to just let things go, and I do it multiple times a week at this point. Something comes up with my daughter, something comes up at work, something like that. I have learned to assess what I can fix, and that's where I've drawn the line. I've said, okay, this is all I can do. This is all I can do. And I can get angry. I can get upset. I can, do whatever I want to do. Logic needs to beat emotion here. And so this is my line. Everything beyond that, I just have to let it go. I can't do anything about it. So I can be mad. And I had an instance last night at my daughter's basketball game. And, nothing with my daughter or anything like that, but I got really mad. And I was like, what can I do? Anything I do is going to negatively affect or negatively impact my daughter.
Yeah.
And her future doing this. So I have to just understand that this is out of my control. I can take control, but it's out of my control. It just understands it's out of my control.
It was in her basketball game?
Yeah. It was
Are you one of those violent fans?
No, not at all, actually. I've been really hands off this season, and just said, you know what, I'm going to let everything go the way it goes. And I didn't see that something wasn't quite fair. I'm not going to get into the details, but something wasn't quite fair between her team and then also what the opposing team had done. It kind of messed things up and didn't allow the girls to really have their time to shine. And I could have I really wanted to go down there and get brash. But I realized, while talking to the person I wanted to say these things to, like, what am I going to accomplish? I'm not going to fix the problem. The problem has already transpired. So now we're reflecting upon something that we cannot fix because it's already in the past. And anything I say now is just going to set a precedent for the future and cause problems in the future. So I have to let it go. It's out of my control.
Yeah, I've been one of those crazy fans. My son was playing basketball and this guy pushed him, I got so mad, I ran up to the kid, and then he's going, and I said, then I saw myself, and I said, wait a minute, this guy is only about 7 years old. What I'm doing over here, yelling at him, And then then the referee said, Mr. Rodriguez, you must leave the gym.
And that was the first of many, many times that Louis got kicked out of places.
Yeah, I when it comes to sports, I'm real serious about it.
I used to be real, like, I used to, Alan and I would talk. I say, Alan, Christianity is my faith, but football is my religion. Because I would religiously watch football, man. I didn't miss Saturdays or Sundays. I was watching football, college or national, and NFL, professional. I watch all of it, and I was heavy into stats and who was doing this that week and who was going to move into the league the next year. And yeah, I used to see the people in the striped shirts known as referees, and I'd say, oh man, something about putting that shirt on must make for a good blindfold. And that was the nice way of putting it.
Yeah, it is.
Well, speaking of blindfolds.
Yeah. You need me to unlock it?
From the Daily Mail.
Yeah. Okay.
China no longer deserves benefit of the doubt. Bombshell Senate report concludes that COVID most likely leaked from lab as lawmakers point the finger at Beijing.
Ooh.
Let's go ahead and get in here. The COVID pandemic was most likely the result of a lab leak, according to Bombshell Senate report, or a bombshell. Wow, I'm skipping A's there. Policymakers said there was substantial evidence of an accident at a research facility, while evidence for a natural spillover is still missing.
Sure it is.
I'm not going to dig into that too deep. I want us to go ahead and be able to talk about it.
Yeah. So I think it's confirming suspicions that we had for a long time, and we've talked about it a little bit on this program, but we've skated around as much as we possibly can because we knew that Susan Wojcicki would say, "Uh-oh, they're talking about it."
You can't talk about that. That hasn't been proven.
So, yeah. But now we've got article from Daily Mail that says, right? It's Daily Mail.
Daily Mail,
yeah. And they've got references. They got receipts, and they said that this accident almost certainly happened. And we've got the Congress saying it almost certainly happened.
Yeah.
What do you think about that, Lou?
We knew about this for the longest. We knew it. They wasn't, trying to make us believe something different. We knew what really happened.
It wasn't bat soup?
No, it wasn't bad soup. It was bad sushi.
He's talking about guano. But so there's what this article is saying is that they actually were testing on the COVID virus in this lab.
And they let it out.
They let it out. It's like all those movies like Outbreak and all those that it's always there's doing something in a lab and then something breaks and then it goes everywhere.
You know something? I think they were trying to make a movie. That's why they did that. Because they're still making a movie.
Well,
January 6th, they made a movie out of it. I think they was trying to make a movie. I guess they got bored of making movies. They wasn't making enough movies. So.
I mean, to be fair, there's a movie about Johnny Depp versus Amber Heard. So
yeah, well, and then you have there's this movie called COVID Zombies.
COVID Zombies. We're gonna get there sooner or later.
It's actually the prequel to Johnny Depp versus Amber Heard.
That's who poo-pooed in the bed.
Yes,
it was COVID Zombies.
And they keep experimenting. Who knows what could happen in this world? Anything.
Well, I mean, this vindicates Trump, right? Because they kept saying that he was racist because he was pointing out where it was coming from.
Yeah.
He was saying, we call it the Chinese virus because it comes from China,
He knew.
They said, well, that's racist, sir. And he goes, no, it's not. It's an observation. It's from China.
Right.
I actually watched a documentary on that.
Yeah. Do you know what the name of the documentary was, perchance?
No, it's on Vice. I just typed in coronavirus, came across, but I got to look it up again before.
Okay. Sometimes I think Austin may have your tablet for you.
Yeah. It's not connected.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So if you want to go ahead and bring up the Wi-Fi on that, I'll get you connected. But certainly, so we have the COVID virus breaking out of this Chinese lab. It goes all over, and then they try to hide it. Even the good old what's his name, Doctor.
I don't even know if we can use his name. Not with doctor in front of it. At least.
Saint.
Oh, it's Saint.
Saint.
It's Saint now.
Saint Fauci. Is that right, Louis?
Yeah.
It's Saint Fauci.
Fauci. The liar.
And now we've got proof. It's coming out, and this committee is putting together a pretty solid case.
And what's so funny, we had labs like that in Ukraine.
So, the crazy thing about this is, I don't know if you guys saw this, and I'm going to jump around just for a second. This comes from Forbes, and this isn't a second article. This is just in addition to our first topic. I don't know if you saw that. Sorry, guys. Boston University was playing around with the coronavirus. Did you guys see that in the news?
I did not.
So they've basically taken the last strain of the coronavirus, and which is the most infectious, but has the least impact on people, and they've basically amped up its ability to kill.
Huh.
They introduced it to mice. It killed 80% of the mice.
Wow.
So it's highly infectious and fairly lethal.
So it sounds like a bioweapon.
They're playing with this.
Chemical warfare.
You're going to take it in and you're going to see, okay, well, what do we need to do? Okay, well, here's the problems. The spike proteins have these issues. This has that issues. Let's see if we can fix that. Why?
Yeah.
Why? This thing came from a lab.
Let it die out.
Now that it's weak, now that it's spreading, because, I mean, again, the whole idea behind a virus is that it doesn't want to kill its host because its whole job, just like nearly everything living on the earth, is to replicate. So if it kills its host too quickly, it doesn't replicate, it dies out. That's not good for it.
That's why it gets weaker and weaker over time and becomes different strains so that it can keep surviving, but eventually it dies off.
So you have a university going, another lab takes it and goes, let's see if we can kick this up a notch. Let's take this very virulent strain.
Give it steroids.
And let's make it lethal. As lethal as we can.
The most current strain of COVID can only infect those. And this is from the CDC. It can only infect those with a fourth booster. The most current strain of COVID can only infect those with a fourth booster.
Tell me something. Why do people experiment on stuff like this? Why? Why do they decide that they want to create a virus that could kill people?
It's anything to weaponize, right? Anything to weaponize and anything to play God, I think, because they like to poke around at things that they don't have any business poking around in. We have all we need if we need to ever start a war, stop a war before it begins, right? We have all we need as far as America goes. We don't need bioweapons to be added to that because bioweapons can have blowback. I think COVID taught us that because we had in that COVID facility there in China, there were U.S. People working in that lab. That was why they said that Dr. Fauci had lied on the stand. He actually committed perjury and hasn't been convicted of it because he lied on the stand saying that they didn't have researchers there. But we did. The U.S. had, so we knew this thing was coming. Mm-hmm. We knew that this had leaked, and that's why they tried to cover it up. But it's all going to come out. It's all going to come out. We're all going to find out that things called government aren't so innocent, and things that I've said in the past about questioning every one of them and asking the questions. Let them know, hey, I know this happened. Quit trying to cover it up. Be truthful with me, and if you're not, I'm voting you out the next time you get put up on the chopping block.
These are people that are just pure evil. When they think about stuff like that and how to destroy people, they got to have evil inside them. They need some God in them to be thinking stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. They're concerned about consolidating their own power.
And adding money to their pockets. Yeah.
destroying everybody.
Science is an expensive business, and they're trying to find the next thing that's going to keep it going, right? That's why when COVID started to taper off, we got monkeypox.
Yeah.
Where's that monkeypox?
Somewhere around there.
It's over at the Blue Oyster. For those are our generation.
Well, we don't need that to destroy our world. We got Biden. He's destroying us.
He's pretty good at it.
Inflation, everything.
To be completely fair, though, he doesn't even know he's doing it.
That's true. Where are we?
It could be true. It could be
How
true.
number 16, number 20?
But I think it's Obama is the one that's running everything.
Did you see Obama kind of strike down the Democratic Party last week? I mean, that was a beautiful thing, though. That was. I mean, granted, he's telling them the blueprint. Hey, you guys went way too far. You need to bring it back. People don't care quite as much about January 6th. They care about being able to feed their families. There are very few times, and I mean, I'm not a hard right-wing guy all the time. There are very few times I can actually sit down and go, Obama, that makes complete sense. Like, that's solid. I understand you're basically trying to bring your people back, but also you're making some good points in
Well, of course. Right now the Democrats are losing. They're losing on everything. I mean, inflation, this and that. Who's going to vote for the Democrats? Really? They're destroying the world right now. And Obama probably figured that out and said, well, maybe we should come back a little more, and
bring it back toward the middle.
Yeah.
Yeah. I as much as I agreed with a lot of things Obama said, which is weird to say, it's like Twilight Zone. But I feel like it was all put on. It was all what's the young person's term for that?
He was trying to be nice because it's close to voting.
It was all baloney, really. He's saying the right things, but just like when he was in office, he did that a lot, where he would say a lot of the right things, and then he would do quite the opposite. I think all he's doing is making a bilateral move. He's just putting his arm out like this, like, hey, I'm not part of that. I'm not part of that, but really he is.
See, I took it more like it was the captain telling the team what they need to do. It was the coach telling the team, hey, guys, you need to stop doing this. It's not because I'm condemning you. It's that we can't win this way.
Yeah, and I felt like it was that, but he's saying not yet. Like, we can do all these things that you guys want to do, but not yet. I think that that was what I got out of it by watching him talk. So yeah, Ryan's searching for his.
He'll come out later and say
it's Frontline, not Vice.
Oh, Frontline. Yeah,
okay.
Well, that makes more sense.
What do you have there?
Well, when I watched it, like, it's like, I have it popped up.
Hey, Austin, can you turn up Alan's headphones? It's number 1 on the top right-hand corner. On the soundboard.
Like I can. Okay, there we go. That sounds good. Sorry, it got really quiet. Like I couldn't hear myself.
From when I watched it, the U.S. and China, like, there's no communication from what they said in the documentary, and it kept on overlapping. But in parts of it, they had congressional pullings from it too. But I don't know, like, the best way to describe it.
We wanted information. They wouldn't share it.
Yeah.
We wouldn't work with them. They didn't want to work with us.
Yeah.
With the exception of our covert
Except for the people that are there. Yeah, exactly.
that are working there.
They're engineering it with them.
Yeah.
Then prior to that, watched a documentary where the doctor that was there was killed because he leaked it about what China said.
Talking about the Chinese doctor that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I believe that he was actually featured on Tucker Carlson. I can't remember his name, but.
I can't remember his name.
So something we can also verify if need be. So, if please don't strike us on that YouTube. If you need that reference, I will find it and give it to you. So just email me, okay?
Speaking of things that shouldn't have leaked, Schumer caught on hot mic telling Biden that the Dems are in danger and they're going downhill in Georgia. I should say in the Georgia Senate race.
Yeah, but all around.
It's in Georgia. Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer was caught on a hot mic telling President Biden on Thursday that Democrats are in danger in at least one Senate race and admitting that the party is going downhill in the closely watched Georgia contest. That seat we're in danger in that seat. That was a strange one. That seat, we're in danger in that seat. Schumer could be heard telling the president on the tarmac at Syracuse Hancock International Airport. It's unclear to which seat Schumer was referring. Okay.
And we're talking about like back in 2020, we had, and as much as I like Trump, I'm wearing his hat, but I feel like his focus on the election fraud was a little bit, a potential election fraud, I should say, was so immersed that it actually lost us those 2 seats that we had there. So you had Warnock and I can't remember the other name off the top of my head. The name is escaping me, but we lost both of those seats there in Georgia. And I feel like that had to do with pressure from Trump and him pushing forward that rhetoric of, hey, this was a cheated thing. This was, it may very well have happened that way. Most secure election in history, but that rhetoric certainly didn't help us, and I think that's what lost those 2 seats previously. But this time around, I believe there's 2 seats that it talks about in that article, or what he's referring to is the 2 seats that are there available. And
well, he also mentions a little bit about what the next article we'll be talking about. So, and by the way, that was from the New York Post, just so you know.
So yeah, I think you have, they know they're in trouble. And for the fact that Chuck Schumer, even though he knows that any moment he could have a microphone on, and just so happens he had a hot mic lavaliered right onto his lapel, and he's admitting it, that means that they know for sure they're in trouble. They are shaken in their clogs, I guess. I don't know what Democrats wear. What are the Crocs? Yeah,
Crocs. They wear Crocs.
Yeah, because they're full of croc.
Nice. You know, Herschel Walker only has 0.6 of a percentage point of a lead. That's it, and he's willing to say they're in trouble based on that. Well, so that tells you a lot right there.
I think. Does it say what the poll's from? And I couldn't remember if it said where the poll's from.
Average of polls from Real Clear Politics.
Yeah, so that's the problem. Is that Real Clear Politics, unfortunately, is left leaning, and so they they skew the numbers a lot. So that 1.6 is probably more like 12.6 if we were to get accurate numbers, because they have a phone list that they're going through, and they're calling particular people, and they know it. So that's why those polls are leaning that way so hard. But I think if you had more fair polls, then you'd probably see a red wave for sure.
So I've been called about 3 times in the last couple of weeks with questionnaires and surveys, and people wanted to know, like, they wanted to poll me over the phone and things like that. And I was like, okay, well, perfectly fine. Who's your libertarian that you want to talk about? And they're like, click. Which libertarian do you want to talk about? Click.
But I think, and we've talked about this in the past, Alan, between you and I don't know if we ever talked about it on the show or not. Anytime a poll shows, it's true. Anytime a poll shows a Republican even a fraction of a point ahead, generally speaking, that means that Republican's going to win bigly. I mean, they're on their way to win.
The reason why is when they're polling people, the Republicans are at work.
This is true.
So they only get a hold of Democrats.
Yeah.
This is true.
Yes, we figured it out.
I will say this with those political calls. Half the time I just hang up, but the other half the time if I do happen to be catching me on the way home from work, I just refer them to the show.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, because they say, well, can you contribute some money today? And we're like, hey, the politicians got plenty of money, and I know it because I've seen the PACs. I've been to some of the Republican meetings and stuff like that, and local RNC meetings and stuff like that, and yeah, there's plenty of money there. They don't. If you're poor like the folks at this table, if you want to give them a couple dollars, that's on you. But they don't need that $2. They have got plenty of money on any side of the aisle. Throw the libertarians some dollars for that matter, because I know that they're not getting enough funding. They don't even let them on the stage.
They can't even get representation. Yeah, exactly.
And I think it would only be fair that the Libertarians get to stand on the stage with Republicans and Democrats, because we have more than two parties in this country, and it should be seen more. At least let people know that they have the option. But that being said, I always say, no, I don't have any money to give you, but you can watch my show, Faith, Family, and Politics, and actually follow Revolver Broadcasting, because we have a lot of shows that's really going to hopefully bring people the right way.
That's fair.
And allow them to think for themselves. And hopefully, and most of the time, I find that when people think for themselves, they vote red. They really do.
Whenever they ask me for money, the first thing I say is, you got my vote. That's enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
worth more than gold.
That's definitely worth more than gold. Wow, my voice cracked there. I might be getting the rest of my beard next week. So, one of those other races that Schumer was talking about just happened to be Oz versus Fetterman.
Oh yeah, in Pennsylvania.
That's our next topic here. Oz versus Fetterman. Also from the New York Post, Oz ahead of John Fetterman in first post-debate Pennsylvania Senate race poll. We didn't see that coming. The first post-debate poll in the hotly contested Pennsylvania Senate race shows Republican Dr. Oz ahead of John Fetterman by nearly 3 percentage points. And as we were just saying,
yeah, if a Republican is showing up and leading the polls, regardless of those polls,
they surveyed
going to a victory.
They surveyed 750 likely voters in the Keystone State one day after. So I don't know if you saw much of that with Dr. Oz and Fetterman.
Some.
Okay.
Not a whole lot.
I mean, it's not fun watching Fetterman suffer after having a stroke.
Yeah, I was about to say that.
But, I was just talking with my coworker today or yesterday about it, and I said that, he didn't have any business being on that stage to begin with, and it's out of concern for him. Okay,
right.
What
it's
he
not
should have done,
not an ableist comment.
It has nothing to do about his because he did have a stroke. The correct move for him to have made was go back and say who was second in the primary. Step down and let that next man up or woman up, whoever was second in that primary, go to bat and then be the Democrat candidate, because they likely don't have the cognitive issues he has. They likely don't have the need for a prompter, because that doesn't fare well for him. I thought Dr. Oz was really well reserved, because if it had been a candidate like Trump up there or a Kerry Lake,
they wouldn't have. Yeah, they wouldn't have taken the high road.
They would not have taken the high road. They would not have held back, and he would have heard about how he's not fit. They would have pointed that out and said, "Hey, you're not fit. You're not." And I thought Dr. Oz did really well with that.
Well, it's crazy to think a doctor up there with a stroke patient.
Yeah,
it's kind of a strangely ironic situation.
That had to feel very weird for Oz.
And literally, Dr. Oz could have just been like, "Look, here's the medical issues that he's going to be facing. Here's the repercussions, the aftermath of what's happened to him." Like, he literally could have laid it out there. I mean, and definitely said, "I'm not his physician," but then said those things, and could have definitely just chewed him up.
Yeah,
it would have been nothing. And from a position of knowledge,
certainly. And he chose to just talk about policies, which Fetterman did not.
Hey, good night.
Yeah, yeah. He said, "Hello, good night, everybody."
Yep.
I do know, coming from first as a soon to be out on the street more with the fire department, if you're losing motor sensor in your brain at that point, you're useless. But best way to put it.
Yeah, there's not a whole lot you can hope for once, because I mean, some people do fully recover from strokes. I've
It's
seen
very
it
rare.
very rare. I had an old coworker that when I worked at the license branch, she had a stroke when she was younger, and then she was able to fully come back, and she taught herself to read again, write again. I mean, she worked fast on a computer. I mean, I was nothing that lady couldn't do.
That's incredible.
My wife recovered from the stroke.
Yeah.
No, man.
And she does pretty well for herself too.
Yeah.
She doesn't miss too many beats. Unless you're annoying her, right, Louis?
I've had actually had a TIA on a call, and
Can you explain what a TIA is?
It's an ischemic attack to the brain.
Okay.
Where it's like deoxygenating, but it's not a full stroke.
Okay.
So, don't know if that person survived or not. Didn't know if it went to a full stroke level. When I got there, it was me, another guy jumped off of our squad at the time and met the other company. When we got through the door, he's pale, but I mean, once a stroke hits, your body decides to go.
Yeah, it'll take either one side or both sides of your body, and everything just starts to droop, right?
So he was the opposite of an airhead. There was no oxygen getting to his
So
brain,
not a
or very
Democrat.
little. Yeah. No.
Well, when you have a stroke, like especially like my grandfather, he had a heart attack and a stroke. So, like, not together, like separate times. He survived the stroke, his heart attack. He survived the stroke completely after it. Don't know how, but my grandma told me it was severe, but not that severe.
Gotcha.
It's a lot of it's dehydration.
But imagine them having to go to a congressional seat debate after the stroke, right?
Oh, well, that's not recovery.
Would you say that they were fit for office after that?
No,
Probably not. No. And usually if someone's going to recover, they're going to recover within a certain period of time, 6 to 8 weeks. I believe is what one of them was saying it was on CNN actually. I was watching on CNN the other day. And then this medical professional was on there. She said it's usually 6 to 8 weeks for a recovery. If they're going to recover at least most of their facilities, they'll recover those within 6 to 8 weeks. So he's well beyond that point.
Unlike us pulling out of the Middle East, we didn't recover our facilities. We just left them.
So yeah, I think he's unfit because he hasn't recovered far enough, and he's not going to because we're already past that. You know?
I mean, you could notice it, but I couldn't really notice in the few of the shots that they took. 'Cause it had like half of his body, and some of them.
Yeah, he was standing fine, but he has to have a prompter. He has to be able to read. He has a hard time processing words just being said to him. He listens, but his brain does not turn it into information that he can break down. So he reads it, which puts him at a disadvantage. But seeing him free speak is really a big issue as well.
Yeah, I think they made a good point on. I watched Louder with Crowder. They talked about it a little bit, and they said that maybe they should have had him write out his answers, because then we could have seen at least those cognitive abilities be there. Because if he can write it out, then he can show that he's processing it.
My grandfather, like, he can process verbally, written. He communicates good now since he recovered,
but not right after within 6 to 8 weeks. It wasn't.
No.
Yeah.
Strokes come in all kinds of ways.
Some things you just can't recover from completely.
Sometimes it's backstroke, sometimes it's breaststroke.
But strokes mostly come from a person worrying a lot or thinking about something that he thinks that he's not gonna.
Stress induced.
Mm-hmm.
Not sending that anxiety to God.
Yeah. They're not handing it over to God.
You're not gonna have a long, full life wearing on your shoulders.
My yoke is easy and my burden is light.
But when you do, just like we saw with Fetterman, though. I mean, poor guy. He's had the sink thrown on him.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you say? Because we have a fourth bonus topic tonight.
These guys don't know about it.
I know. Josh and I know about this. One of my favorite people to debate with Louis about. Elon Musk walks into Twitter HQ carrying a sink.
Read that headline again. Let's make sure it's clear to everybody.
Elon Musk walks into Twitter HQ carrying a sink. Elon Musk's purchase of Twitter may now be complete after the Tesla CEO walked into its HQ with a sink, captioned with the joke, "Let that sink in."
That's a mother of all dad jokes.
I actually was at home at my grandma's and that popped up.
Trump said he's happy that Elon Musk is taking over Twitter. Now we probably get the truth, but Trump said, I'm not going to get on the show. I got my own show.
Yeah,
he's
I
got
didn't
True
know
Social.
he has his own ball he wants to play with. Yeah.
I didn't know he's making a show.
Oh, you know, he has his own social media. He has
Yeah.
Social media.
Oh.
True Social.
True Social.
Oh, okay.
Are you
Oh,
on
no.
Are you on True Social?
No. I was
So-
talking about Musk.
All right, Ryan, you got to get on True Social and make sure to follow Revolver Broadcasting, just like those folks out there. They need to hop on True Social, make themselves an account, and follow Revolver Broadcasting.
My dad does. He's on there.
I just love that within minutes of buying it, he was like, CEO, fired. CFO, fired.
Yeah, Parag Agrawal.
Yeah, I heard that a lot of people in the business does not get well or like him to be there.
Yeah, well, that's because they have to work now.
Yeah.
One worker said, oh, man, Elon Musk is going to have us actually physically be at work.
Yeah.
We have to
Yeah.
leave the house. Yeah, that's what people do when they have a job.
I'm sorry, guys. I don't mean to leave you hanging. I was going to pull this up because I literally saw this before I left work today
No more sitting
because-
around.
because we have day jobs still. Please subscribe.
So while you're pulling that up, Parag Agrawal, CEO, right? His next move is the unemployment line.
Absolutely.
For Halloween, he just gets to have to wear a T-shirt and jeans because he's unemployed now. That due to inflation, that is his Halloween costume.
I wear that every day, though.
I mean, do you have a new Halloween costume? I don't think so. We can't
No.
afford it, right? Because of
No.
inflation. Let's go, Brandon.
Okay, so
I got a thumbs up from the producer's desk.
oh my goodness, where is it? It's so some of these people they tweet so much it's hard to find exactly what it is, but there's
So yeah, while you're looking still,
go ahead.
The reason I don't like Musk is because he's coming up with these electric cars that we don't need right now.
yeah, but they're so expensive that none of us can afford them anyway. So only
No.
only the Democrats with all that money and their elitist money can
Well,
actually
they
afford
keep
them.
going the way they are. They're pushing out the gas cars and they're bringing in the electric. So,
They're trying to, even electric buses.
It's not going to work.
well, they had electric buses. It's been a while now, but
Good old cackling Kamala. She came out with electric buses. So we'll talk about that next week, I believe, though. I'm sure Alan's going to have something to say about it on his show.
Who? What? What am I going to talk about?
Electric
Kamala
bus.
and the implementation of the $5 billion nationwide to get electric buses to be used instead of diesel-powered buses because, diesel pollutes,
Oh, absolutely, so bad.
You know diesel's heavier than
No.
gas, right?
Nothing that charges could possibly, put filth into the air.
and you know what's the bad thing? Right now they're using ethanol in gas stations. You know what that does to your car? It messes up parts in your motor. It also makes you waste more gas
Yeah, it burns
than
faster.
ever.
It burns
That's
faster,
true.
just like alcohol. It burns faster.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So he isn't going to shout me out, or she, or whoever runs this account, but Cat Turd
Oh yeah.
on Twitter, hilarious stuff. Actually posted report day 1 of Elon Musk owning Twitter. I'll be doing this every day to see if anything changes. As of now, I'm still shadow banned, ghost banned, search banned, and Twitter removed 1,200 followers today. As usual, nothing has changed. I'll report again tomorrow. Elon Musk replied to him,
Nice.
I'll be digging in more tomorrow.
Yeah.
And then he reported the next day that all of those bans have been removed. He gained like 6,000 subscribers, 6,000 followers. And so that's just incredible to see. I mean, Elon he's like Trump. He's good at getting in there and trolling when he needs to, cracking jokes, really digging in.
Taking care of business.
So
On the business side of him, Elon Musk won't talk to his investors unless you're big business to him. He's very conservative from what I've noticed. My dad's
Financially
noticed
speaking,
it.
yes. Yeah.
Yeah, he is financially speaking.
Well, at first, the Biden administration was trying to block the sale, which was hilarious. I mean, I don't mean first. Obviously, we had all the things going on, but as of last week, they were trying to block the sale, not because they didn't want him to spend his own money. They were okay with that, but instead of spending his own money by selling stock, he was actually looking into investors from the Middle East and from China.
Oh.
So they tried to bring it. There's an organization. I'd have to look it up, but I'm sorry. I'm kind of going off the top here. There's an organization, one of those alphabet offices that we have in the government that actually attempts to keep all the business here, attempts to keep things in-house and not allow foreign investors to have a large share of any given company in this country, at least until until the government, needs the money. So they didn't like the fact that he was looking at foreign investors to pay the bill.
Yeah, and I think that was a troll too. I don't think he was. I think that was all like paperwork that was submitted just to see if they would come out of the woodwork and show their true colors. But I do think that it is government overreach, but it's also fair enough. I do agree with trying to keep things in-house. I mean, Trump even tried to do that with TikTok, where he wanted to make sure that TikTok got sold to an American investor.
Right. And, that's my thing, though. It's literally the government saying, we don't want you to do it because of the safety and security of our economy and of documents and things that have to do with this company and that could be doing business with other things, right? But then they're like, hey, we need money. Hey, China, what can we do? Yeah. We could, I guess, leverage our national parks. That's cool. Like
Talk about hypocrisy.
Right. Goodness. They need money. They put up our national parks and say, hey, you get X revenue off of what these national parks make as long as you loan us the money up front. Like literally, what if they call you on that debt? They can't come take it, but still. So that's my problem.
Come and try.
That'd be beautiful. We're not trying to start war.
We are certainly not trying. Oh, man.
So, Louis, anything on Elon taking over Twitter?
Nah,
anything else?
I said what I had to say.
That's fair.
He's letting it sink in.
I haven't used Twitter in a while.
He's taking off his shoulders and giving it to God.
That's right.
Just Facebook.
I'm thinking of breaking the sink.
What was that? I'm sorry.
Facebook needs to be bought next.
Oh my gosh.
We'll see. We'll see how it goes.
That'd be so nice to be able to have my Laughing Libertarian page back.
That'll be great, right?
Oh my goodness.
Well, when they start subscribing enough and start watching our show and making us some money,
I don't care about
Alan,
Facebook.
we'll just buy Facebook and then then we can do whatever we want.
And I won't get put in jail anymore.
Yeah, Louis is constantly in Facebook jail.
Oh, I would love to be able to just be like, Louis Rodriguez, jail. Just so it'd blip on his screen and like, not in jail.
I expect myself to see myself on Facebook behind bars like this.
For those listening on audio, he put his hands up like he had bars in front of him.
Well, if you guys don't have anything else you want to talk about or add to that, anything else, guys?
Not that I've got.
Okay.
But I do like the idea that Elon Musk is going to at least bring Twitter so we could bring out our truth, But he's got to stop with those electric cars.
That's where he made a good amount of his money.
I feel a certain kind of way about those electric cars too, Louis. So I can't debate you on this one. I just have to go, hey, I get it.
If he could just make that Cybertruck diesel, I'd buy it. I'd invest in it. If it was a diesel truck, because I like the look of that Cybertruck. It's a pretty cool looking truck.
Yeah, but it's going to be a lot of problems after that. You got to get those electric batteries.
That's what I said. I don't want it to be electric. I don't want it to be electric. I want it to be diesel. I want it to go.
But diesel wastes a lot of.
It's actually cleaner than.
Is it cleaner than gas?
Yes, it's cleaner than gas. Yeah, fewer emissions. Yep.
All right.
And you can, especially if you put it through stackers and things like that, it actually filters up. It looks dirtier.
The DEF that's put in there.
And a lot of times diesel engines are noisier, but the technology has moved forward, so they're actually a lot quieter. They don't sound like Grandpa's tractor anymore.
Well, I used to hear the diesels back then go click 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 click.
Yeah.
I said, "Oh my god."
Yeah, and they got that loud because you usually hear them in like semi trucks and everything, but no, the technology has moved a lot, so there's cleaner emissions for sure.
It sounds like you have valves always working in there.
You say valves or bowels?
Valves.
Valves.
Both of them are making a lot of noise.
Some of the guys that I hung out with in the car scene had a few diesel cars.
I don't know why I got crickets.
I got it. I think on the
that was
bowels. I got late crickets on bowels.
Oh,
had
he
a
doesn't
few-
even know Austin's putting his hands up in the air like,
I had
accident. He's still learning, folks.
I had a few friends that had diesel cars, Cadillac, diesel, and everything like that.
No, I do like the fact that he brought that sink in though.
That was great. Yeah.
Well, because I love dad jokes, and I reveled in the evening where we had my dad and Richard here, and you had to sit between them.
Oh, that was miserable. I love them both. That was miserable. That was
Did you
brutal.
blame them out of all the problems they gave them and the headaches?
What, you know that one person's heaven is another person's hell, Louis.
Yeah.
And my heaven was listening to those two guys do dad jokes for basically the whole night.
Yeah.
And it was Alan's hell.
Oh, it was.
He was like, "Did I cross over already?"
I think maybe Lucifer was taking notes. It's like, I got to find two nice guys down here and just have them tell dad jokes.
So yeah, for him to go like and make the dad joke a physical item, like Gallagher, that stuff, what was his name? Carrot Top, to go full Carrot Top on it. I loved it.
Hey, we've kind of arrived at the end almost.
Yeah.
We'll go ahead and have you lead us out in prayer, and then we'll go ahead and
Yeah.
convince these people that they want to see more of us.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Father God, again, we want to thank you for this time of fellowship, and I believe we had fun too. And we want to make sure that people know out there that we're trying to glorify you, and that all of these values that you taught us in the Bible early on, we're going to take all those worries, and we're going to be warriors, and we're going to take that into the world. We're going to become mountains, put on the full armor of God, and we're going to go out into the world and let them know, hey, my values are the values of God. I'm pulling this straight from the 66 books of the truth. And we're going to be active in our communities. We are going to do what we can with you on our side, Lord. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
I never got a cheer on my prayer before. That felt pretty good.
So, are you trying to take your ears off already?
No.
We haven't done outros yet.
Well, okay. Everybody to my left here, he likes to introduce himself, apparently.
No, you're good.
No? Ryan?
Yes.
Okay, just want to make sure since you told me earlier. Everybody, this is Ryan. Had a great time. I appreciate you coming on the show.
No problem.
Sorry to give you a hard time there, buddy.
You're good.
Across from him, the host of Rodriguez Rants, Louis Rodriguez.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, hey, I got put in this seat, man. But hey, it's great having you here, buddy.
Iron
You did
Fist.
great in that seat. Don't worry about it.
Thank you.
Iron Fist,
I know, Rich. I wasn't supposed to mention that. I wasn't supposed to mention that. Across from me, bringing the message today, your day-to-day host, I guess.
The Iron Fist.
The Iron Fist, Josh Cummins.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Great words today, man. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks for putting me in this seat today, even though it sounds like I'm losing my voice.
You had it coming.
That's fair. My daughter's going to appreciate it tomorrow when she's at basketball practice.
Lozenges.
Right. And of course, he's the host of Faith, Family, and Politics.
Yeah.
Check out not only this show, because you are right now, and you're going to in the future. I know you will. Of course, Rodriguez Rants. Check out sorry, I'm blanking here.
What is the truth about?
What is the truth about?
Danny?
Yes. Yeah. That. And we have
A few shots.
a few shots. That's where I was going, was a few shots.
Yeah. The most recent episode of A Few Shots has Alan and I on there.
Don't watch it with the kids. I think I may say bad things in that one.
Yeah. Well, I got a little, prickly too. I mean, for me.
And I'm your guest host tonight and the regular host of The Laughing Libertarian, Alan McFarland. Everybody, have a great week, and we'll see you next time.
I was also on those few shots.